What may be one of our shortest accident reports here on the Blanco Lirio channel. We now have video footage, dash cam footage of this crash of the Cessna 414 November 4765 Golf that occurred in Modesto, California back on 18 January, killing the solo 80-year-old pilot on board this aircraft. Let's check it out. Starting with the Aviation Safety Network, a Cessna 414, owned operator, Aircraft Charter and Leasing, LLC, November 4765 Golf, one fatality, only one occupant on board, occurred near Modesto City Airport. A Cessna 414 suffered engine problems after takeoff from 10 left at Modesto City County Airport, Modesto. Now this has not yet been confirmed whether it was engine troubles or some sort of communication problems. We do not have the ATC audio tape from this accident. California attempted to return to the point of departure where it crashed southeast of runway 28 right. The sole pilot was pronounced dead at the scene. The aircraft was written off. Preliminary indications indicate the airplane experienced some sort of malfunction after takeoff. Multiple witnesses saw the aircraft in a left-hand banked turn and it nosedived into the ground. Here's the Modesto Airport, Modesto, California. The accident aircraft departed on 10 left and was attempting to land in a left-hand turn back here on runway 2 right and crashed right here on a very short left base for runway 28 right near the Mitchell Road. And the dash cam footage is from a car coming down Mitchell Road here. The Modesto City Airport is a towered airport with a 5,900 foot long runway. Plenty of room for a 414, even if it had engine troubles. That is to say, even for a single engine approach and landing. Here's the ADS-B data from ADS-B Exchange. We'll just start right with the takeoff here, climbing out to 108 knots, 116 knots, 122 knots, 2,200 feet on a right downwind, 119 knots, 3,000 feet, 3,100 feet, 137 knots, and then makes a left-hand turn coming back around from 3,200 feet down to 158. There's 173 knots. We don't know what the winds are at the time of this accident. 135 knots, 2,900 feet, 123 knots. And what I'm doing is reading these references right off the left panel right here. Again on the left downwind, 102 knots, slowing way down here. Again, we don't know, these are ground speeds, we don't know what the winds are. So he's at pattern altitude of 1,200 feet and only 102, 94 knots. He's cut this base turn much too short if he's going to land on runway 28 here. If he's going to come back around for any kind of a landing, whether it's an emergency landing or a normal landing, he needs to follow a flight plan more closely resembling his departure path. So for some reason, he's coming in very short to the airport, and then, I don't know if he realizes all of a sudden he's much too close to the airport, but makes a bid to the right, and then he honks it into a left-hand turn at a very slow ground speed here of 72 knots, and that's where we pick up the dash cam footage and spins it in. So why was he in such a rush or such a hurry to get back to the airport and the runway? And it appears to me that he simply blew his pattern and approach back to the airport. So regardless of whether he had an engine failure or an emergency, the loss of control was initiated by the mishandling of his approach back to the airport. Now taking a look at some of these post-crash photographs from Livecopter 3 KCRA, Sacramento, California, looking from above. As a amateur accident investigator, this is a classic stall spin crash display of the aircraft here, with the aircraft being in a left-hand spin. when the aircraft is spinning to the left and impacts, that tail is going to scorpion around to the right. A lot of people get this confused. They think the tail is going to scorpion around to the other direction, but no, as the aircraft impacts the ground, that vector force of that tail is going to whip it around to the right in a left-hand spin. Here we can also see that the gear is down and the flaps are deployed. We do not know the condition of the engines, the propellers. From these pictures, we can't see if there's any feathered propellers or anything to indicate that an engine was feathered, or an initial indication of an engine problem. And there's another view of that tail just whipped around to the right. And of course the wreckage just came straight down through these trees. There's no skid marks leading up to where the aircraft rests. Here's a left-hand pattern coming in land in Harvey at runway 7 in Nevada County. I like to maintain a minimum of blue line airspeed while in the pattern, whether I'm on 2 engines or 1 engine. Keep that speed up and be mindful of the winds and how tight your pattern is going to be. These aircraft are bigger, faster aircraft and require better speeds. There's blue line airspeed right there in Harvey. I'm also being mindful of staying coordinated in that turn. What's the ingredients to a spin? Stall and yaw. If we back up here in this turn, if I horse this around with a bunch of left rudder to try to force the nose to get lined up with the runway, that ball is going to kick way out to the right there, indicating that I've got much too much left rudder in there, cross controlling the aircraft, and at a slow airspeed that'll lead to a spin. While doing my research for this update, I found this excellent video by a channel called S4 Aviator, Cessna 414A. He does a great job of explaining flying in the 414 and all about blue line. The 414 has a very benign VMCA airspeed. It's got a very low min controllable airspeed on 1 engine. See the link below to this video. So accident investigators will be looking as to why this pilot lost control of his aircraft and stalled and spun it in on final. 80-year-old solo pilot. This is why insurance requirements are so hard to get in a light twin engine or a twin engine aircraft, especially as you begin to age out at or above 80 years old. It's getting extremely difficult to get insurance for these aircraft as we get older. Thanks so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible, as this sort of content is often demonetized by YouTube, even though it's displayed here as in an effort to learn. Thank you for your support. See you here.